Well, this is the back end of my Speed Twin. I've already changed the pipes for Thruxton R's, and what I'm going to do today is change the terrible, in my opinion, rear suspension for something a bit better. I don't think I would like to have spent more. I don't think the bike warrants it for what I think is worth it financially. So rather than spend £1,000 plus, I've spent a bit less, and I have YSS RG362s. Now these are supposed to be completely silver because I didn't want the all black ones, but in between me ordering them and them actually being available, because Brooks Suspension, where I purchased these, are selling every single pair they get. They're all sold in advance. They're getting them piecemeal from YSS, which sort of pretty much shows you or tells you everything you need to know about the quality of the suspension on these Speed Twins, because so many people are replacing it. Now these are now a slightly different design all over. They come with a matte black spring instead of a gloss spring. I preferred the gloss, but there's no way I'm going to get one of the old original sets. And they come with a black reservoir as opposed to silver, which also upsets me because I wanted all silver, and YSS have cheaped out. They've now just used the reservoir from the all black model and attached it to this silver body so that they don't have to make a silver reservoir. I'm not altogether happy, but we shall have to live with it, because the only other option is to spend a lot more money on something like Öhlins to get the silver body and black spring, albeit with a gold reservoir, and all the others. There's a black version of this. I don't know whether it's any better. I just didn't want the back to be completely black. I think it sort of makes the whole suspension unit disappear and it look as though there's nothing holding the wheel on, for me. The option was 950 quid on a pair of K-Tec razors. I didn't want to spend that sort of money on this bike. I don't think it's worth it. You know, this is just sort of a bit of a back street hooner. I'm sure they're better, but I can't justify the extra money because I also want to spend a reasonably significant amount of money on the front forks as well, which in my opinion are worse than the rear shocks. So that's where we are. This is all very easy if you've got the appropriate kit. You really need to be able to lift the bike off the ground and keep it steady. I'm going to have a little cheat here. Normally I still might do, I tie this to the steel support on the ceiling as well as lifting it up on the jack. The jack fortunately sits straight across the bottom of the frame and the back of the engine. It's fairly stable. Fairly being the operative word. I have done this sort of thing before. I will take my time. I'll be leaving the side stand out and resting it on some pieces of wood so that it doesn't topple over. I might use straps still to the ceiling. I'll see what it looks like when I've got it up on the jack. And then it would just be a case of taking out the top bolt, the bottom bolt, and because I'm using the jack and I can adjust how far off the floor or on the floor the rear wheel is, that means I can move the swing arm up and down, and this should just slot off and the new one should just slot on. This is the plan. I may of course be underneath it later on, but hopefully not. Let's see how it goes. Well, one side off, bike's pretty stable. I've got the side stand down, but it doesn't actually need it, it's just resting. All looks okay. Here's our old one. All 67 pence worth of it. Next stop, new one. Also, what I'm going to do is when I put these on, I mean they're handed, but they're not handed. I mean everything is exactly in the middle. On the outs, what would ordinarily be considered the outside, so this would be a left-hand one. I'm not a big fan of this. On the old original silver ones, it was a sticker, a good sticker, but a sticker nonetheless, and you could take it off and not have this branding. So, and also you get all the model number and everything in there as well, which isn't great. So I'm going to turn them over, and that is going to be on the right hand side, and obviously what would ordinarily be considered the right hand one is going on the left hand side, and the idea is that you won't see anything except from perhaps the inside, but nobody's going to be sticking their head under there anyway. So that's the plan. So the first one on, not tightened up yet. They are a little longer than the standard ones. So leaving everything exactly as it is on the jack, I've had to compress this by hand with a cloth in the palm and just push it down about 10 mil and squeeze it on. So now just do it up and start the left hand side. Okay, side 2, same deal. There's that on the inside. I think I've made the right decision. I'm sure other people would like to have that branding out there, but it's not for me. Here we go. Well, there we are, left hand side done as well. Not particularly pretty, but I'm sure they'll be significantly better than the standard setup. I'm going to take them out now, take it out now, and see what they're like.